calm down, folks. Just calm down. And welcome in to the Best Boys Center Ice Podcast 2026 Stanley Cup Playoffs wrap-up show. I'm Barry Besse, along with my son CARSON. We've been off for the last few nights, just some things happening between the two of us, but we're back on tonight for another exciting night of hockey in the NHL and the Stanley Cup playoffs. We'll go back and we'll kind of recap a little bit of the other games that we missed over the last few games. But tonight's were some big games. A lot of all three games were really good, very entertaining games all the way around. And as you can tell, I went into full I guess it was elimination game mode. So the history of me, I never wear Oilers gear on Oiler game day. Carson knows this. He knows my little quirks and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
The only time I wear Oilers gear is when I'm actually at a live game, or if the Oilers are facing elimination. Well, tonight they were facing elimination against a very, very good Anaheim Ducks team. So my wife Beth picked out my outfit. It's the lucky outfit, and until the Oilers, at least get through this round, if they get through this round, this will be my attire for those nights. So thank you very much, Beth. She's the one that put a little luck in there, as the Oilers did win tonight. We'll get to that game, Carson,
Yeah.
a little bit later. But the first game of tonight was a great game between Buffalo and Boston. That series, as advertised, has been one of the better series. Buffalo looking to clinch their first playoff round win since, wow,
11, I guess, when they
2010 or 2011, something like that. And I can't remember who Buffalo beat. I'm thinking they beat
or maybe it was before that, because I know they beat Philly, I think, at one point. But I mean,
but anyways, it's been a while for Buffalo, and it was in Buffalo. They were all geared up for the Sabres to win tonight, but um, didn't really happen. It didn't happen because it went into overtime. But it was a great game. The Sabres got off to a quick start, 3:35 into the first period, and Rasmus Dahlin gets a power play goal. Second period, only goal was by Elias Lindholm at about halfway through. Second period, no goals in, pardon me, in third period. So you go to overtime. This was one of only two series that hadn't gone to overtime yet. And the other one,
Pittsburgh, Philadelphia.
that's right, excuse me, Pittsburgh, Philly. So this one goes to overtime, and the Pasta man, David Pastrnak, he netted the winner. Just an Pasta on a breakaway is almost
Automatic.
unstoppable,
Yeah.
and that's what happened. Nice little miniature breakaway halfway through the overtime, and Boston gets the win, 2-1.
Yeah, the thing too about the overtime, obviously, is the long change. That makes a big difference. But I mean, that play was pretty close. It was like a couple inches away from being offsides. I mean, with how close it was, but he went in there and he did exactly what he had to do on that breakaway, and gave his team the win. So I mean, yeah, but there was a must win, obviously, for Boston. They had to win to stay alive, and they do just that based upon that uh, beautiful overtime winner from Pastrnak after really humiliating loss on Sunday. They lost 6-1 at home. Buffalo had 4 goals in the first period, and you knew Boston didn't want to go out like that. And sure enough, they get to go back to TD Garden for their next game on Thursday. Then you go to the next game, which was honestly, out of all three of them, I think this one was the one that people were looking at the most, because This is a very hyped up series, Dallas, Minnesota. I mean, two very good teams, two top teams in the NHL, and one of them's going home. We both picked Dallas to win this game tonight, and we were both wrong as the Minnesota Wild won. Went into Dallas and ended up winning 4-2. Um, so Dallas, even though they came back, tied the game a couple times, I thought they looked kind of flat. They didn't get any really. They weren't really shooting the puck tonight. They really didn't get the puck on net for the most part until towards the end of the game. Minnesota did a good job containing what they could, and then just taking advantage of their opportunities. And that's all it takes. Otter gave up a weak goal in that third goal for McCarron, and I mean that's the winning goal of the game. And that's hockey. It's bounces like that, but um, I'm happy for the Wild. I mean, they're a good team. They deserve to be here, and it'd be good for them if they moved on. But I really wonder, should Dallas lose? This kind of brings up a conversation about the Dallas Stars being a contending team for the last how many years, and they haven't made the Cup final. They
Mhm.
haven't really gone that. I mean, they've gone far, but they haven't done anything with it. At what point do you think things change? I mean, there's a lot of talk about Robertson not being back next year because of his contract
Yeah.
situation. What are the Stars going to do? Because I mean, they really have nothing to show for all these talented players they've
Just
got on the roster.
correct me if I'm wrong, and Carson, I've been wrong before, but they went to the Western
No,
Conference Finals the last 3 years,
yeah,
right? And they
yeah, because
recently
they lost to
they've been,
Vegas and Edmonton twice in a row, and I mean, they
and then
even if
they've
you look
been to the
back,
Stanley Cup final before in the
yeah,
last,
in 2020 when Tampa Bay won
yeah.
the first time.
So yeah, I agree. If Dallas loses here, and says in it, game 6 is in Minnesota, and the Wild lead 3-2. If Minnesota wins this series and Dallas goes home, it's like, yeah, what something has to happen. You
Something
can't
has to
just keep
change.
saying, "Oh well, you know what? We get closer. We get
Yeah.
to the Western Conference Final. We get to the
Well, and they
Western
changed
Conference."
their coaching. They changed their coaching. They got a new coach in there, and I'm not blaming. I mean, that's a good team. They're running that team really good. Obviously, because the Stars are continuously a very good
Mhm.
hockey team. Um, but you need results, and you need the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
And it's the window is limited because these players that they have are worth a good amount of money, and you're not going to be able to keep all of them around. So you're going to wonder what's going to happen there. Uh, I think they've constructed that roster really good. It's just like when it comes down to it, there's just certain things that just like don't that just are that go wrong for them. Like right now, they're down Rupe Hintz right now. He's not going to be back, I imagine, in the rest of the series. Otter's been hit or miss, but you just wonder what the changes are going to be for Dallas. Should Minnesota close this out? I mean, again, they're going home to play in St. Paul in a crowd that's going to be going crazy because they want to see the Wild in the second round. And the Wild, if they make it, deserve to be there because they've had, I think, out of the two teams, a more consistent flow to the series. They've played the same pretty much the entire time. They haven't really gotten rattled. They could have gotten rattled in game four going to overtime. You could go down 3-1 and they instead just take the game and win. And, that's all it takes. But you just wonder the direction Dallas is going to head uh, should they get eliminated this first round, which is a possibility. Then you go to the nightcap, and then after this, we'll probably just kind of catch up to where we are in the overall series for everything else. Another series really that had the kind of same discussion as the Dallas
Mhm.
Minnesota one because it's the Oilers and the Ducks, and the big conversation is about the Oilers. Should the Oilers get eliminated?
Mhm.
What happens because McDavid's contract he just signed, but it's a prove it deal, and the mindset on that is that should the Oilers not really be able to do anything, that he's going to have to get traded because it's not worth losing McDavid for nothing, and this is their shot. They've got to get it done
Mhm.
here, and they could have gone home instead. The Oilers come out strong in the first period, 3 goals in the first half of the first period. And then Anaheim got one back, and then the Oilers got another power play goal by Draisaitl in there and make it 4-1. That's the final score of the game. This was the game the Oilers needed to play. So I had mentioned it when we talked about these games for the first few of them. The Oilers gave up so many opportunities at the first part of the game for games one through four. The Ducks got so much going in the first 10, 15 minutes that it just made it hard for the Oilers to come back and figure out how to game plan and on the fly correct it because the Ducks were creating momentum. Tonight, the Oilers, I think, had maybe 10 of the first 12 shots of the game.
Yeah,
That's the Oilers hockey. That's how they need to play the game because this is a very offensively minded team, but it's harder for them to win if they're playing against another run and gun offense team where they have to probably score 5 or 6 goals.
right.
Not saying that it's impossible, but that's hard to do in this league. And this is a tough match. I think really looking back at the last couple seasons, obviously look at the Florida series, the Dallas series. I think this one is uniquely one of the more challenging ones because they're playing a team that their mindset is to score. They score goals. The Ducks score
Yeah,
goals, and the Oilers aren't really used to that kind of team this early on. You know, you play the Kings the last 4 seasons.
yeah, but
No
nothing like
disrespect to the
this.
Kings, but the Kings are more defensively minded. That's how they play the game. The Ducks don't. The Ducks worry about scoring goals, and the Oilers do too. And so it's just kind of a battle of who's gonna let in more than the other tonight. The Ducks let in more. This was the best game the Oilers have played all series. If you're Anaheim, you're probably not worried about it though because you still got the series lead and you're going back home. But the
Hmm.
Oilers, this was a must win, and they absolutely played their best game in the series tonight.
Yeah, Connor Ingram looked really good after a very shaky game three. He came back with 19 saves on 20 shots. So, and the one goal he did give up was on the power play, and Anaheim's been almost
I
automatic on the
know.
power play.
Yeah.
I think, looking at it and all day, I was looking at the saying, McDavid's a daytime decision or a game time decision, and he's been struggling ever since he ran into Ekholm in game one, and he did something to his ankle, a high ankle sprain or something. He's just not been McDavid. Like, he did get a couple of points tonight. He did get a goal and he's got a goal and a couple of assists in the last couple of games. Um, so he's not looking himself, which a lot of players would wish they were half of what he was. But the thing that I saw tonight was a total commitment to defense from the Oilers. Ingram was back in net. I think they feel more comfortable with Ingram in net than Jory, even though Jory had a great game in game four. Just, that overtime goal that, you can look at it and you go, well, if you take the skate blade out, it looks like it's over. But definitively, could you tell that it was completely over the line? You couldn't see because of the skate. But, anyways, it is what it is. Jory had a good game, but they went back to Ingram, which I wasn't surprised because um, I think they give him a shot like they did last couple of seasons with Stu. He has a rough couple of games. Get him out, get him back in, get him refocused. I'm not saying the Oilers are going to go off and now win the series because that's still a very good Anaheim team. But if they play like they did tonight, a total team effort. Podkolzin played great. Roslovic was all over the place. He did everything but score a goal. I think the bottom two lines did what they needed to do. The defense, like I said, shored up.
Yep.
Connor Murphy, probably the best defensive player of the game. Connor Ingram had a really good game, and Draisaitl's there with a goal and a couple of assists, or two goals actually. So the big guys are doing it. Hyman got a goal. Podkolzin got a beauty goal. And so the guys are picking it up, even though McDavid isn't 100%. And I could tell. I've
Yeah.
watched him enough. He's not 100%. And unlike a certain captain of a certain hockey team in Toronto, this guy's going to play. He's there was no doubt in an elimination game that the captain is going to play, and that's just the way he is. He was still out there making hits. I'm sure that ankle has got to be throbbing right now, sitting in the locker room, and you can tell by looking at the bench. Even when the game was out of reach and they pan over it, he still looked like he was like he was in pain. So again, like we talk about, when you're down 3-1 or 3-0, like the Penguins were, you play one shift at a time, one period at a time, and one game at a time, and that's what the Oilers have to do
Yep.
heading into Anaheim on Thursday.
Yep. I agree. Again, just the same mindset. One game, one shift, one everything at a time. That's all you can do. You can't look too far ahead, and you can't dwell either because what's happened has happened. Uh, and so, with that kind of sentence said, with what's happened has happened, again, big win for the Oilers. But we'll kind of just look into the series and see kind of where we're at now because, again, we were off for a few days over the weekend.
Mhm.
Uh, So Buffalo again with tonight's win by Boston. Now Buffalo leads that series 3-2 against the Bruins. Tampa Bay Montreal's tied at two apiece. We had our first series win of the first round was accomplished by the Carolina Hurricanes. They swept Ottawa on Sunday. They win that series 4-0, and they're awaiting the series Pittsburgh, and we're awaiting the Pittsburgh Philadelphia result to who plays Carolina. Again, Philadelphia leads that series right now 3-2. Colorado, they were the second sweep of the first round. They swept the Kings 4-0 also on Sunday. Minnesota Dallas again with Minnesota's win tonight, 3-2 series lead. Utah Vegas tied at 2 with Vegas big overtime win last night against Utah to score twice to do it, but they got it done. And then finally, again, Anaheim leads the Oilers now 2-0 after that big win by Edmonton tonight. So looking at these, uh, what ones maybe to you kind of stand out here, like are intriguing to you as far as kind of where we're at this point? And it can even be the sweeps, which I don't really think either of us are really interested with those because we expected those teams to win. But what do you think is intriguing you right now with what you see on this board?
Well, what I'm seeing is I still am very impressed with Utah, even though they gave up the game, and they could have
Yeah,
had a really stranglehold on that series against the Golden Knights. I'm liking what I'm seeing in Utah, much like, and yes, I am liking what I see in Anaheim. So, are we seeing kind of a new guard?
yeah.
That's might be the new guard of the NHL playoff tiers
Hmm.
as we go along the years. Utah going into Vegas, they've won in Vegas.
Yeah.
The Golden Knights, as we've talked about, even after the coaching change, which was funny to see, their old coach
Yeah,
who
Bruce
won the
Cassett's
Adams
gone. Yeah.
Trophy was
Yeah.
sitting on the
TNT
panel
panel.
for the
Yeah.
games tonight. It's so funny because he won coach of the year, but he was fired with
Yeah, and they
8 days.
asked him about it. They asked him
Yeah,
about that, about getting fired. And it's
Cassidy,
kind of
right? It's
crazy.
Cassidy is his name. Yeah,
Yeah.
and so he was very gracious in saying, well, Vegas is that's they saw something and they needed to make a change. And even though they would have made the playoffs, they would have maybe struggled. I still think Golden Knights are not the same team that they have been in the past. They're not the juggernaut in the
Yeah.
Pacific. I know the Pacific was the weakest division of the four all year, no doubt. But I think if Utah can go into Vegas tomorrow night,
Oh,
win that game to
that'd
bring
be
it,
great.
you know what's coming back to Utah no matter what. So there's going to be at least one more game in Utah. But that one, of all the series besides the one involving the Oilers, intrigues me the most. Buffalo, Boston, of course, does, but I like Utah. I
Yeah.
like that Utah team. I really, really do. And
Yeah.
then, and of course, you got. I think the team that has the best shot, in my opinion, not just because, but in my opinion, the best team that's got the shot of coming all the way back is Pittsburgh. They were down 3-0.
Oh,
They were
yeah.
down 3-0 and going into Philly for that fourth game. It could have been just so easy, but you've got so many veteran players. Crosby or Scoresby.
Yeah.
You got Gino. Latang got that weird goal, but he's getting there. You've got a team that's got a lot of veterans that don't give up. So yeah, Pittsburgh's going back into Philly. They already know they've won in Philly. They know what kind of environment it is in Philly. I think again, you take it the shift at a
Yeah.
time, period at a time, game at a time, and this one goes. I think this one goes seven. It goes to Pittsburgh, and I believe of all the teams
Yeah.
that could, Pittsburgh is the team that could make it go all the way from
Yeah.
0-3 to winning the series.
Yeah. I'm honestly very I'm in a weird spot with that series because it's just so exciting. Like I mean they were down 3-0. It's equally exciting and frustrating because they were down 3-0. They play game 4. And in game 4, I don't feel like they played their best game. They played pretty good, but not their best. but it was more than enough. They did the job. They got the puck past Vladar finally, uh, and the team played together. Game five, even though it was a 3-2 game, I think the Penguins controlled that game from pretty much top to bottom. They scored early, which was important. That's the earliest goal of the series. It was like less than 3 minutes in. Uh, but they're able. The tide has shifted in that series. The Penguins are playing their game again.
Yeah.
This they're forcing the Flyers to play their game. The Penguins love that transition game, but they also love rolling the lines. And rolling the lines has worked. I mean, their fourth line has been probably their best one. And that's the one that wasn't really out there as much in the first few games because of how choppy the games were because of all the commotion going on after the whistles. The Penguins, for the most part, have given that up. They're not doing it anymore. They haven't really. There's been no penalties uh, because of that. Really, the last one that actually happened was in Game Four, and Hathaway engaged with Eric Carlson, and he got taken off. Hathaway thought he won the battle, and then the Penguins scored their a
Hmm.
4-on-4 goal, and the first 4-on-4 goal I've seen them score in so long. All the pressure in that series is on the Flyers now because
Hmm.
okay, yeah, you're going home, but if there's any team that has success winning in Philly, it's Pittsburgh,
Yeah.
and we've seen the beast of Sid wake up.
Hmm.
He's woken up, and he's played phenomenal the last two games. I'm just going to speak upon things that I've seen that just make the story even sweeter. So after uh, after Game Three's win, and the Flyers won that game. After the game, Owen Tippett, one of their forwards, leaving the arena, gets stopped by a fan when he's driving out the parking lot to go home or whatever. And the fan asks him, "Can you autograph this puck?" Okay. He autographs the puck, and the fan asks him to write out on the puck, "Crosby sucks." And he does it. He does it. He writes that on the puck, and he gives it back.
Yeah.
And okay, that might be just like a, whatever thing to happen, but you don't do that when you're ahead already.
No.
Don't add fuel to the fire because they saw that. The team saw that. Whoever saw that, the trainers, whatever, they saw that. And you can see it. I don't know. This is just my opinion. Looking at the bench when they pan over to Sid and you see the glance on his face and the look on his face, he's determined
Yeah.
to carry that team. And they'll go as far as he does right now. They're playing for each other right now. They want to keep it going. Obviously, the big change was made before Game Four in goal. Artur Shilov's got thrown in for Stu, and it wasn't on Stu at all. It wasn't the point. It
No.
was to shift the momentum of the series. And Artur Shilovs has played an amazing two games. He's let in two goals in each of them, but kept the Penguins in it. Uh, I look at tomorrow's game six, and I'm excited. I'm nervous, but I'm more excited. I'm more confident in the team. Honestly, even though the 3-0 comeback hasn't happened all that much,
Yeah.
the Penguins are really in a very elite group of teams right now because of the fact they've already forced the game six.
Hmm.
And all the pressure again is going to be on Philly. So out of the two teams, the Penguins have the better power play. Yes, it struggled a little bit in this series, but they've gotten some power play goals. The Flyers can't afford to take penalties tomorrow. I
Yeah.
think the Penguins have been good on the penalty kill. They have the better 5-on-5 team. They've controlled the offensive zone time this whole series. It's just a matter of bounces, and you saw okay the bounce that went the Penguins' way. The first one really that went their way in the series with the Letang fluky goal. But this is going to be such an interesting game, and I truly believe if Pittsburgh wins tomorrow, they are going to win the series.
Yep.
I don't see
I
them
agree.
losing. I don't see them coming back from that and losing in Game Seven. I truly don't. But again, I think they all know one game at a time or one shift at a time, one period at a time. If you get down in that game early, don't worry. Just
Yep.
play your
That's
game, and it's
fine.
going to be fine. And it's proven to be because even though he hasn't played poorly, Vladar has let in more goals now. They're getting the puck on the net. Even some shots on yesterday's game in Game Five,
Mhm.
he was looking kind of shaky, giving up rebounds that could have cost them. But it's just a weird spot. I haven't been in this position with the Penguins before, being in this situation, but I couldn't be more comfortable with where they're at. I mean, it would be nice if they were on the team that was up 3-2 right now, but looking at 3-2 versus 3-0, I
Yeah,
feel very confident with this is a completely different team I've watched the last two games. It's
yeah.
100%. So I'm excited for that one. Montreal Tampa is very interesting to me because those three of those four games have been OT games. I
Hmm.
still have Montreal winning that one. Uh, I'm I'm worried for Dallas. What happens if they lose?
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
worried too.
Boston, Buffalo. I want Buffalo to win that. I think Boston just, you know, again, that could be something that they'll be able to maybe build that team up a bit more next year. But I want Buffalo in that. Uh, yeah, I don't know. I'm just this the playoffs have honestly been they started out kind of slow in my opinion. They just weren't at the beginning. They were entertaining, but not like normal. Now things have ramped up a lot. Uh, there's a lot more action. There's a lot more goal scoring. There's a lot of these tight overtime games. A lot of these
Mhm.
tight series. I mean, all of them are close now. I mean, you had the sweeps, but other than that, these are either 2-2, 3-2, or that's it.
Yeah.
So these are all going pretty long for the most part. But we look at the next day's schedule or tomorrow's for Wednesday. Three games on the schedule docket. Montreal, Tampa Bay, 6 o'clock Central, Game 5 in Tampa Bay. Then again, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia tomorrow, Game 6 in Philadelphia. And then finally, Utah, Vegas, Game 5, 9 o'clock Central. These are all very interesting games, I think, in their own rights. I, for some reason, have a feeling that we're going to see another overtime in Montreal, Tampa tomorrow. I mean, even
Mhm.
game 4 was a 1 goal game. I mean, it was close and it was a late goal. But I think tomorrow, I think Montreal is going to storm in there and take the game and go back to Bell Center and with the lead in the series. I have a good feeling in what they're doing, and I think they're going to be fine. It's again just about them staying disciplined and taking advantage of the power play opportunities. You go to Utah, Vegas. This is a coin toss for me. Uh, I feel like Vegas played a good game yesterday. They're going to have momentum from what they did because they really controlled the play from Utah. But I think Utah is going to go in there refreshed, fresh perspective. You don't want to give the game up like you did the other day where you had a 4-3 lead and you gave it up. I think they're going to go in there and take the game back and go to Utah with a lead in game 6. And then finally, again, Pittsburgh, Philly. I think Pittsburgh's just going to do what they do best, and that's right now just playing their game and not getting involved with what Philly's doing. I think all the road teams win tomorrow. Personally, it would be a great story if Pittsburgh could come all the way back, and force that game 7. It would be a great story for Montreal if they can go back home and win their series in front of the crowd at Bell Center. And then it'd be great again if Utah could go back home with the series lead to close out a series in front of their fans for the first time in franchise history to win a series.
Yeah. And we'll be back on tomorrow night, right after the Vegas Utah game is over. I'm assuming
Probably around this time again,
probably
really.
about this time again, depending on overtime, of course, but
Mm.
probably about this time again. And we just will continue on. Great games tomorrow, some great games today. This is the time of the year, and congratulations to the San Antonio Spurs. They won tonight. They beat Portland. They're now off to the second round for the first time since 2017. First time that they've been to the second round. So, congratulations to our San Antonio Spurs here. And it's just hockey is when you I've been watching the Spurs games, off and on between the games, the NHL games, and the NHL game, the playoffs are much better.
Yeah,
Like I'm only interested in the Spurs games.
yeah,
That's our hometown team here. I'm not interested in what the other teams are doing. But in the NHL, everybody is
yeah,
it's just a talent loaded teams with a lot of great young talent. I'm liking seeing the younger teams that are good that you can see in the future. That's going to be the top tier
yeah.
teams. Things are starting to switch around in the NHL a little bit, and I like seeing that. I like seeing a team like Pittsburgh coming back. I like seeing Utah doing what they're doing. I do like what Anaheim's doing. Minnesota, if they beat Dallas, that's going to be huge. And then you're right. What does Dallas do if they lose? A lot of questions, but they'll be answered over the next little while. And we'll be there for everything. You can catch the replay. Oh, by the way, thanks to Beth, Deborah, and Randy for joining us tonight on our Facebook page. The replay will come up here in just a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll also be replayed on our YouTube channel. You can get all the what we've done so far in the 2026 playoffs on our YouTube channel, Best Boys Center Ice Podcast on YouTube. Again, the graphics all done by Carson. Thanks so
Yep.
much, Carson, for all of that. We will be with you again about this time tomorrow after the game between Utah
Yep.
and Las Vegas. So, in the meantime and in between time, everybody have a great hockey night.